Buckle up, Commanders fans. We've got bombshells that are going to shake the whole NFL. First up, who says you can't make bold moves? Our squad just locked down a lethal weapon who's already proven himself with one of the league's most promising quarterbacks. Could this be the boost our new QB needs to take the Commanders to glory? I'm thinking yes, and I'll tell you why in just a minute. But hold on, there's more. Remember that trade that left us all scratching our heads? Well, now we've got the full picture of what our future in the 2025 draft looks like. And let me tell you, brighter than a Washington summer sun. Are you ready to see how a dynasty gets built? And to top it off, there's a move that's just screaming confidence. Our D-line boys have the front office so convinced they're placing some hefty bets. Could this be the master stroke that takes us to the Super Bowl? I ask you, are you ready to see our defensive tackles dominate like never before? Don't you dare miss a second of these explosive updates. We're breaking down every detail, every implication, and I promise that by the end, you'll be as hyped as I am about the future of our Commanders. Want to know more? Want to be the first to hear about every move our team makes? Then you know what to do. Smash that subscribe button, drop a like, and turn on those notifications. Because this, my friends, is just the beginning of something big in Washington. Remember how everyone was crying about the lack of weapons for our new QB? Well, dry those tears because a missile just landed straight from Houston. Noah Brown, folks. Same guy who turned C.J. Stroud into a sensation last season. Now let me ask you, are you ready to see Jaden Daniels explode like a supernova? Because I think this move is exactly what we needed. Brown isn't just another receiver, he's a master of the vertical game. We're talking about a guy who averaged 17.2 yards per catch. 17.2, that's more explosive than the 4th of July fireworks. But wait, there's more. Think we lost out on the Dotson trade? Let me tell you this. Sometimes you gotta step back to launch forward. With Brown on the team, we're not just launching, we're preparing for liftoff. Now, I know what you're thinking, but what about McCaffrey and Zacchaeus? Chill out, there's enough to go around. This move isn't about replacing, it's about complementing. We're building an arsenal that would make the Pentagon jealous. And speaking of Daniels, I know some of you are worried about his conservative play in the preseason. But let me ask you, did Michael Jordan win championships in exhibition games? No, sir. Greatness shines brightest when the lights are on. And with Brown stretching the field, Daniels will have more room to shine than the stars in a Virginia sky. Look, I'm not saying Brown is the next Jerry Rice. But what I am saying is that this guy has the potential to be for Daniels what Tyreek Hill was for Patrick Mahomes in his early years. Catalyst, an accelerator, the nitro in our offensive engine. And to everyone still crying over Dotson, I've got news for you. Sometimes change is good. Sometimes you've got to shake the tree to get the ripe fruit. Brown, folks, is a ripe fruit ready to be squeezed into the Commanders' offensive juice. So now I ask you, do you think this move puts us in the playoff conversation? Because I sure do. And not just that. I think it puts us in the race for the division, with McLaurin drawing attention, Brown stretching the field, and Daniels with more options than an all-you-can-eat buffet. We're cooking up something special here in Washington.
Remember when everyone was saying the Commanders were stuck? Well, forget that. Peters is shaking up the board so hard, it's leaving our rivals dizzy. And now, with the trade of John Ridgeway III, we're gearing up to dominate the 2025 draft. Are you ready to see how a dynasty gets built? Let's get to the facts. Ridgeway's off to the Saints, and what do we get in return? A 6th-round pick. Now, some might say, a 6th-rounder? That's it? But I ask you, would you rather we cut him and got nothing? Peters is playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers, folks. And let's talk about Johnny Newton. This kid dropped in the draft like a gift from the heavens, and Peters didn't hesitate to snatch him up. The result? Ridgeway became expendable. Is it cold? Maybe. Is it business? Absolutely. In the NFL, you adapt or you get left behind, and I'm telling you, the Commanders aren't getting left behind anymore. Now, let's take a look at our haul for the 2025 draft. We've got 8 picks, including 2 in the 3rd round and 2 in the 6th. You know what that means? Flexibility, bargaining power, the ability to move up and down the draft as we please. Peters is playing 4D chess, and the rest of the league is just learning the rules. But here's the million-dollar question. Is this the right path? I believe it is, and I'll tell you why. For years, we've watched the Commanders take shortcuts, looking for quick fixes. And where has that gotten us? Nowhere. Peters is building something sustainable, something that will last. He's not after headlines, he's after championships. So now I ask you, are you willing to be patient? Because this isn't happening overnight. We're talking about a process, about building a winning culture from the ground up. Can you see beyond the immediate results and visualize the bright future that's being forged? And for those who doubt, let me remind you, Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither is an NFL dynasty. Look at the 49ers, where Peters comes from. Years of smart planning, solid drafts, and now they're contenders year after year. Isn't that what we want for our Commanders? But don't get it twisted, this doesn't mean we're settling for mediocrity while we wait. Every play, every trade, every draft pick is designed to make this team better now and in the future. Peters isn't playing to be competitive, he's playing to dominate. And here's my bold prediction, with these moves, with this vision, the Washington Commanders won't just be back in the playoffs in the coming years, we'll be Super Bowl contenders. Yeah, I said it. Super Bowl contenders. Think I'm crazy? Maybe. But they also thought it was crazy to believe we'd ever shake off the mediocrity, and look at us now. John Ridgeway 3? Gone. Traded to the Saints. And why? Because Peters has a vision, and he's not afraid to execute it. Now I ask you, is this genius or madness? I think it's a bit of both, and here's why. First, let's look at what we got. A 6th-round pick in exchange for Ridgeway and a 7th-rounder. Some might say, a 6th-rounder? Is that all? But I tell you this, it's a brilliant move. Why? Because Ridgeway was probably going to be cut anyway. Peters turned a potential cut into draft capital. That, my friends, is like magic with the cap space. But let's get to the heart of the matter. This move screams confidence in our defensive tackle duo. Jonathan Allen and Darren Payne, two monsters on the line that make opposing quarterbacks tremble. Peters is putting a big bet on them, and I agree. And let's not forget the young guns. Johnny Newton, our 2nd-round rookie. Yeah, he's had a rough offseason with injuries, but this move suggests he could be ready for the start of the season. Are you ready to see this kid unleashed? I sure am. But the real winner here, fans, is Fedarian Mathis. After 2 disappointing seasons, the Alabama kid is finally showing what he's made of. His performance against the Patriots in preseason was a wake-up call for the entire league. Peters is betting on him, and I think it's going to pay off big time. Now I ask you, is this the move we needed to solidify our defensive line? Or is Peters taking too big a risk by relying on unproven players? Because here's the thing, this isn't just a trade. It's a statement of intent. Peters is saying he trusts our defensive core. He's saying he believes in developing our young talents. And more importantly, he's saying he's not afraid to make tough decisions to improve this team. And you know what? I agree. It's time for the Commanders to be feared again. It's time for our defensive line to be the terror of the NFC East. And if that means making some bold moves, so be it. But don't get it twisted, this is just the beginning. Peters has a plan, and every move brings us closer to being contenders. The question is, are you ready for this ride? Because I tell you, it's going to be a roller coaster. And here's my bold prediction, this move is going to be remembered as the turning point for our defense. In 2 years, when we're dominating the league, we'll look back on this day and say, that's when everything changed. Attention, Commanders Nation! This is the moment we've all been waiting for, and I need every single one of you to join this conversation. What's happening in Washington isn't just football, it's a revolution. Is Noah Brown the missing piece that's going to take our offense to the next level? I want to hear your theories, your analysis, your hopes. Or do you think Adam Peters has more tricks up his sleeve? Speaking of Peters, what do you think about his moves so far? Is he building a championship team, or is there still that special spark missing? Share your thoughts because every comment matters in this Commanders family. And the big question, if you had 1 minute alone with Adam Peters, what would you say? Would you give him your vote of confidence, or do you have some suggestions to improve the team? I want to read every idea, every opinion in the comments. Now, listen up. If you want to be part of something bigger, if you want a front row seat as we build a dynasty in Washington, you know what to do. That subscribe button isn't going to click itself. Hit it like you're sacking a rival quarterback. Turn on those notifications like they're the alarms on Super Bowl Sunday. Because I promise you this, what's coming is more thrilling than a Hail Mary in the final seconds of the game. I'll be right here with you, breaking down every play, every decision, every rumor. We're more than just a channel, we're a community, a family united by our love for this team. So don't miss out. Join this burgundy and gold revolution. Comment, share, and most importantly, subscribe. Because together, we're going to bring the Commanders back to glory. And remember, hail to the Redskins!